Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. For this video I have about 5 topics. The first one, the Ukrainians successfully destroy a ferry in Crimea, actually in Russia, that connects Russia with the Crimean Peninsula. Very interesting. That ferry is very close to the Kerch Bridge. Now, why didn't they destroy the Kerch Bridge or the Crimean Bridge? Well, we're going to have a few scenarios here. The Russians suspend ferry traffic from Russia to Russian Crimea nowadays. I'm going to show you 3 articles and a map. Then we have the Ukrainians using a poor American Abrams 1 tank. I think that's a crime. What's a crime? Providing a faulty or a bad product to someone to go to war against an enemy, knowing that the product is inferior. That means you expose those people who will operate those tanks, be it Americans, NATO troops, or Ukrainians, expose them to certain death, or at least the danger is heightened. Another topic here, Germany. How is that? The chicken come back to roost? Is that how it is? Well, German politicians, leaders of Germany, through their, I would say, treacherous or treasonous policies, including self-sanctioning their own country, screwed their manufacturing industry and now the service industry. Why? Because Germany is not an independent sovereign nation or a country. No, it's not. Therefore, the boss worked in such a way that you become a baboonish country who are going to work for someone else. Who's that someone else? Not the Americans. Some interest. Prime Minister Modi of India is in Kiev at this point, and he's going to sign 4 things. I'm going to show you how he is taken from one theme park to another theme park to muster, to squeeze some empathy somehow from Modi in order to leave his girlfriend Putin and join the whore Zelensky. So that's 2 articles on that one. We're going to discuss what Zelensky and Modi agreed to sign. Do you think any military agreements? Do you think that Modi will just throw Putin under the bus or Russia? No, they're smart. Indians are smart. Now, let's start with the first article, first topic. And this comes from Reuters, and it says it's 5 hours ago, today on the 23rd of August 2024. Ukraine's Navy says it destroyed Russian ferry in attack. Ukraine's Navy confirmed on Friday that it had destroyed a ferry in the Russian port of Kavkaz that was used to deliver fuel and weapons to occupied Crimea. So this ferry is not used to transport civilians or, to help. No, it's military, because the Ukrainians, as you know, and NATO and Americans are never lying, and they always tell the truth, and they would never destroy anything like that. They promised, pinky promise, that they will destroy only military targets and military infrastructure, and that's exactly what they do. Got that? Okay, now go and support Kamala. Local authorities had earlier said the ferry was set ablaze and damaged in Thursday's attack on the port of Russia's southern Krasnodar region. I'm going to show you where that is, but let's go to the next article here. The Telegraph, August 23rd, Ukraine sinks Russian ferry transporting fuel for the military. Gotta be for the military. So here it is, transports fuel and weapons to Russian forces in Crimea. Got that? All right, we got it. The boat named Condor Trader was downed at the Kaz port, one of Russia's largest passenger ports. Oh, in the Kerch Strait on Thursday. Passenger ports. You know what the Russians are doing? The Russians are doing something the Russians accused the Ukrainians of doing, but Ukrainians never did that, which is they use civilian infrastructure to hide their military, the troops and ammunition. Therefore, like the Russians are going to use this passenger port for the military purposes, to camouflage themselves. The Ukrainians would never do that. So when the Russians say that they destroyed this kindergarten or hospital in Kiev or as it was the case in Artemovsk, Bakhmut, or they killed children over there. There were no ammunition, as the Russian says, and no troops hiding in those. No, only the Russians think like that. You know why? Because they tell us that's the way the Russians are, and we believe them. We believe them 100%. Idiots. Local Russian authorities reported 30 fuel tankers being aboard at the time of the attack, and they all were military. All right. Next one. Reuters: Russia suspends ferry service to Crimea after Ukrainian port attack. Ukrainian port attack. All right. So there's the same thing. Let's go and see where this is located. So this is the greatest port, the civilian port these guys are talking about right here. And this was attacked. This is, as you can tell, on a marsh right there. And if you see here, those are oil things, aren't they? It seems to me like this is like a refinery. No, it's a company. So yeah, that's a military necessarily. I don't know, but here is the port these guys hit, and this is located. This is the Kerch Bridge. Right, this is Russia, Krasnodar, blah blah blah. This is Crimea. This is the Kerch Bridge right here. So the Ukrainians hit this far from it, but they cannot destroy this one. And if you see right, you don't see it, but let me just take myself out. I don't know if you see on the bottom, but you don't see at the bottom. No, you don't see it. I didn't do it. On the bottom right here, it shows you, but you don't see it. You have to trust me. It shows you the distance. So the distance from here to here, it's 2 miles. So this was hit about 2, 4, let's say 5 miles from Kerch Bridge. So they were able to pinpoint this little, right there, the ferry. But somehow they can't destroy this one. Do you think this is so well defended, but not this? So that's it. I have a little scenario on that one. I think that the Russians told the NATO, which is the Americans, if you guys attack that, we're going to do something that you will regret. And probably they told them exactly what they will do. Because it doesn't work with understanding. Hey, you know what? We give you this. No, not like in a Middle Eastern bazaar. It works with threats and blackmail. In this case, if you do this, this is exactly what I'm going to do. Just do it. And I suspect, my gut feelings tell me that the Americans and the Brits got the message, got the memo. And therefore, remember in February this year, the Ukrainians started saying, obviously they received an order, they said in the first half of this year, in the first 6 months of 2024, Kerch Bridge will be destroyed. Well, we are in August, so we are past the 6 months. And nothing happened. It happened 2 months ago or so. They attacked Crimea with about, 12 storm shadows or something like this. But not the Kerch Bridge. So I suspect, no, it's true that in the art of war, sometimes you play dead in order to fuck him up as soon as the guy thinks, oh, I got him. And then opens up and then you just an uppercut. Fuck. And that's it. All right. So could be that. But I don't think the Russians are just going to give their guard down, leave it down. But nevertheless, that's one gut feeling. You hit 5 miles away in the same area, but you don't hit the bridge. Screw the ferry. The bridge is more important, isn't it? All right, so that's the first topic. Let's go to the second topic, where I think not only the Americans, but others provided Ukrainians with low, weak weapons. Like, for instance, remember the French provided those rubber wheels tanks built in 1962 or something like that, designed in 1958. Remember those tanks? With wheels, all right, not with, no, with wheels. Those were designed there. Now they sent F-16s that were designed in 70 or 69, 72, first flight in 74. That's an old plane with all the upgrades and all that. Still, nevertheless, they gave other tanks, other weapons to the Ukrainians that I don't think they match the time and age they're fighting. Or, in this case, here it is, Ukraine got America's top tank without the latest and greatest armor upgrades, which are top secret, but it's adding its own. Okay, this is what these guys, I think they tried to say. Yeah, you blew up our fantastic tank, but you know why? Because we didn't give those guys, it's not the real tank. And all the Americans are like, okay, man, oh yeah, thank you. Give some more money to the arms manufacturing companies, to the defense. The Pentagon is a defense or it's an offense? Think about it. The Ministry of Peace, okay, and the Ministry of Truth. You remember Orwell's 1984? Okay, dystopian novel. That's exactly what's going on. Inverted reality. So now it's like when you lose and you're dishonest, you always, that's called self-attribution principle. You always, when you lose, it's because I didn't feel that well, or someone did something to me, or someone else's fault. When I win, it's because of me, baby doll. So if the American Abrams 1 tanks will destroy the Russians, hey, didn't we tell you this is the greatest weapon in the world? But like this, they say, well, Americans, take it easy. All that money that you give to these baboons in the defense industry and okay, military-industrial complex are well put to work. We didn't give the Ukrainians the top-notch. Nah, we still have a secret, like a stealth, invisible, fantastic tank over there. But they don't think the other way around. Like, hey, wait a second. So you gave the Ukrainians a fucked-up tank to die in it? There are people dying over there. No, they don't mention that. And that they didn't give the secret, but the Ukrainian adding its own. What do you mean? They said armor upgrades, and they're gonna tell you why. Because there were some videos. I made one or two videos on that when I got my claw on them, where the Russians destroyed or incapacitated, got out of work Abrams 1 tank with $20,000 drones from back, boom, and now that's because these guys could not defend against a drone. So a drone incapacitated an Abrams tanks, which is, I don't know, $10 million or something. All right, let's go and see what these guys are lying to us. Ukraine is adding protective coverings. So it's not a technology, it's just metal. Boom, boom, boom. To US donated Abrams tanks to counter Russia, because they were given as they were, naked. The 31 Abrams tanks it received came without the most advanced armor. Why? I think that's a crime. If I would be the parent of, or the wife, or the husband, who operates the tanks, of a Abrams 1 tank crew member, be it American, Ukrainian, whatever, I would be insulted. I think I would go and sue the government, the US government, and the Pentagon. Because you sent a faulty tank, not a faulty, a bad tank, like to the level of 1970s, to fight, I would say, in Ukraine. Now, you can say, well, I think maybe I give them the benefit of the doubt. And I think they cannot be so criminals, but, right? I think that maybe they want to see how the Russians, what kind of techniques the Russians would employ against an Abrams tanks, and they monitored it and say, oh, this is the technique. Guys, we got to make sure when you design, you add this to the tank, because this is against the Russian adaptation to our tank. So maybe they send it over there as a bait. With nothing fantastic, these guys employed whatever they employed to destroy it, and say, okay, so our tank would be vulnerable to these drones, to this, to this. Okay, make sure we design something to the newest Abrams 1 tank. So they just a bait. I'm pretty sure they do that because it's about making money, obviously. So you want to have the best weapon over there to sell to the baboons, and then create a war somewhere so they can buy your weapons because of freedom and democracy. Ukraine's new shields aim to protect against drones and artillery in its intense conflict. So shields, that means adding metal on them. Ukraine is adding more protection, because it already has protection, to its US-provided Abrams tanks as it tries to fight back against Russia. These are top tanks, you gotta know that one, but they came without the top armor upgrades. That's a crime, I would say. Now, let's go to the next article, and that comes, or the topic, that comes from Deutschland, the Telegraph, right there. Boom. Germany in real mess as manufacturing crisis spills over. These guys are trying to make us cry for the German people because they were, how do you call that when you commit treason? By their leaders, click, at the outside agencies. Now, they say, well, Germany is in real mess, the Telegraph says, applauding them. They don't like the Germans don't like them. Why? It's a competition of resources and Lebensraum, right? Living space. Now, the living space is owned by the Americans using baboonish hands, British hands, German hands, French hands, Czech, definitely Poles hands, Poles with bowls, and the baboonish Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia, the Baltic states. So nevertheless, now they say, my God, the manufacturing crisis spills over. Okay, who originated that? Let's go to the origin. Oh, well, Putin. Okay, that's the explanation for baboons. Since we're not baboons, we know who initiated that. You got to impose sanctions on Russia, war machine, so they cannot fight the good Ukrainians who are attacked unprovoked by the Russians. So impose sanctions on you, therefore you're going to affect them. You're not going to affect yourselves. Russia has an economic boom. These guys enter a regression. Let me show you. And then not only in the manufacturing, building stuff, now in services, I service you, you service me, and that's it. Remember, it was one time, if you don't, I just let you know, the Americans at one point were crying that the economic deficit in trade deficit between Germany and United States is imbalanced. And they said something that they need to impose certain things, and they said to the German counterparts that you got to buy from us something, or we got to do commerce with us. And the Germans answers, it was about 12 years ago, they said, yeah, but you don't build anything we need. So you can provide us with services because services are here, right? I can service you over there, you can service me over here. I can, we're going to bring the Germans here to service them? No. But I need to build something so I can sell it over there, and you sell something I need. So the Americans need things, manufacture things in Germany. The Germans said, we don't need anything from you. You don't make anything we need. We buy it cheaper and possibly better from the Chinese, let's say. How about that one? All right. So now they're crying that it spills. No, we know who the criminals are, all right? Or the alleged criminals, but you can pinpoint the exact names. People hide in the democracy by the number. No. You know exactly the name or the party that voted or who's voted for a certain policy. You know exactly the government and the person who said, we are going to impose sanctions on Russia. You know exactly who that person is. Well, what happens to that person? You know what? You work within the system. You vote him out. No, I have better ideas than that. Can you guess what the ideas are? Actions should really have consequences. I can't ruin a country and a nation for generations to come and just be voted out of office and live in comfort and wealth during my position and after even more. Look at the Obamas. How many millions they got now? 70 or something? And here is like, what should I do? No, what have you done? We know exactly. And it's not only him, there's people behind him. German economic woes have deepened after new figures show the second straight month of contraction. S&P Global Composite PMI showed a reading of 48.5 for Germany in August, 48.5 from 49.1 the previous month, and below economists' forecast. The downturn was driven by an ongoing crisis. We always know who it is. Remember when something happens in the office nowadays, I experience it only in the governmental jobs, not in private jobs. You know? In governmental jobs, when something happens in the office, the whistle, usually a certain kind of people, they send you a memo with a gentle reminder for the entire office, dear co-workers or whatever, associates or whatever they call them over there, or please make sure that you do this and you don't do that. When everybody knows it was only Gigi who did that. We all know it. Instead of contacting Gigi, not with an email for everyone, just directly, or call Gigi in the office and say, Gigi, have a seat. Thank you for coming. You fucked up and I'm not going to punish everybody else for you. You either straighten out or we're going to you up. Out. That's how you talk. But no, they don't do it. It's you have to be kind. But being kind, you punish everybody else. So I received this email like I did it, and I know Gigi did it. And then they implement for Gigi, for the whole office, a policy. And you think, no, don't infringe, don't limit my liberties in it. Let's say the coffee. People drink coffee. Let's say the company provides coffee in the morning. And Gigi spills the coffee or takes the coffee like this with his thermos and goes to his cubicle and drinks like a pig. We all know who's the thief over here. So don't say from now on, you know what, because there were some people, we know exactly who, Gigi, you know, we're going to change the policy, no more coffee for anyone. Whoa, Gigi, bang, bang, boom. No, you go to the boss and say, are you idiot? And then you receive the exact answer with this voice. And yes, Emil, but we... You, get the fuck out. This is the way it works, my friends. So right now, in a government, you know exactly who implemented that. In the Senate or the House in the US, in the Congress, you know exactly who did what. They screw your country for generations. The same in Bundestag in Germany. You know exactly who they are. Where do you, Emil, work within the system? I've been told by Michigan State University professors. Work within the system. And what if the system is crooked? What if the system is incomplete? That means it doesn't have a few more things that we can implement to have these crooks over there a little bit more afraid selling our children and our country and our nation, our future. How about that one? That's the answer I got from the freaking professors. All right, it says here, the downturn was driven by an ongoing crisis. We know exactly why, but they don't mention it. They don't say it's Gigi. In Germany's dominant manufacturing sector, which has now been in contraction for more than 2 years. Why? We know exactly why. They're not going to mention it right here, right? But these troubles have now started to spill over into the service sector. No more which had otherwise been steady. In a further blow, employment in Europe's largest economy decreased at the farthest rate in 4 years as firms express less optimism towards growth prospects in the coming years. All right. Remember, the framework these guys gave us, it's incomplete. Add more. When you have a conversation with someone regarding an issue, usually that person, if it's a minimum intelligence, comes and tells you this is the problem, and he starts telling you, your boss or whomever comes, this is the problem. Now you are a free person with free mind. You should not allow yourself to be framed and the issue be framed as the baboon in charge or not framed it. That means the perimeter of the conversation should not be limited to what this guy wants to limit it. Therefore, you say, no, wait a second, it's not, that's incomplete. And you say like this, the things are more complex than that. That makes his framework very simplistic, baboonish. You insult him, obviously, and you say, why? Because that always makes it better. Why? He loses focus. I mean, when you get angry, tunnel vision, you forget the perimeters, which is sometimes good for you, unless the guy fires you. Anyway, and if he fires you, then you go and work within the system. Right. So again, do not allow the perimeters set by someone else. If you see there are other aspects, variables that play a role in the little problem that we have a problem here. Well, let me tell you extra things that were the same thing. Well, it's just, the economy decreased in the past 2 years. Why? Under whose watch? We know the exact names and times. All right. Well, Germans, do something about it. Go and vote. Go and vote. All right. Next one. Let's see how Zelensky tries to fondle Modi's, Prime Minister Modi's balls here. How? By trying somehow, because that's the way they do. And I will tell you a direct story about this one. They try to shame you. They try to shame you somehow to make you responsible for the deaths of some victims, innocent victims. They try to make it like somehow it's because of you as well. Therefore, you owe me. But I never owe anything. So this is what Zelensky and Zelensky Steins do. They try to shame you, and they've never done anything wrong. We are all the eternal victims, and somehow it's your fault. But I was in charge. All right, the same. Here it is. Ukrainska Pravda. 3 hours ago. Zelensky meets with Indian Prime Minister in Kiev. And here you have some children deaths on a panel right here. You got that? So this is the message with all this. You, Modi, support evil dictator Putin and the evil Russians. Therefore, I brought you here to show you the consequences of your support for a criminal. End of story. That's the whole thing. And that worked, or pretended to work, for each and every Western leader who was brought to the theme park and showed, see, bucha, partly because of you, because you didn't stop Putin. And you're like, bitch, you were in charge. You ran on a platform of bringing peace with the Russians. You did not want any Minsk agreements to be implemented. You said you disagree with everything over there. So, but you don't do that. Why? You lose your job in your country because Zelensky, these guys go over there, except Modi. These guys over there because they know who's behind, and if they don't go over there and pretend they're empathetic and yes, they take responsibility for something they haven't done, but the other guy never takes responsibility. Zelensky never takes. Have you heard Zelensky saying one time ever that he was wrong? Do you think he wasn't? Now don't give me, well, he has to portray as being strong. Well, dictators and criminals sometimes are strong. Al Capone was strong. Was he a moral person? Don't give me that one. So let's go and see. This is it. And Zelensky has met, I like this one, president of Ukraine instead of Ukrainian president, has met with Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, in the city of Kiev. They honor the memory of children who were killed as a result of Russian aggression. Got that? And here you have them. Tra-la-la, lululu. They did this before, and let's see what these guys are going to do. Ukrainska Pravda, how Modi throws Putin under the bus. I don't think so. Modi and India will do what they've done so far. We are free, independent, sovereign country, and we do whatever is best for our people that only we represent. That's all. These guys. And they did that. These guys tried to break India so many times. Indian Prime Minister visits to Kiev. Ukraine and India agree upon 4 cooperation documents. Oh, military cooperations and security, right? They say security, not military. Security. Against the invaders. What's that over there? You know what that is, right? Agreements, you don't know what it is? That opens up and you protect the president. You is like a big anti-bullet little piece that unfolds in 3, puck, and you just go and hide behind it or put it, sheltering whomever. That's what it is. Agreements regarding cooperation between Ukraine and India in the medical, agricultural, humanitarian, and cultural spheres have been agreed upon during Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Ukraine. That means is frecție la piciorul de lemn. That means, from Romanian translation, massaging the wooden leg. That means the wooden leg, it doesn't do better or doesn't good or anything if you massage. If I massage the desk, the desk will say, oh, thank you very much. That's the spot right there. Yeah. No, the desk doesn't feel shit. The same here. Doesn't mean. But you can say, well, this is the beginning. No, this is a checking a box. Next time, when these guys are going to accuse Modi of something, Modi is going to say, well, I've been over there. We talk. Oh, yeah, everything is good. The Americans, by the way, it was another article. I didn't pull it out. I can pull it out. Are ecstatic about Modi's visit, thinking that Modi came around and succumbed to the threats, blackmail, and regime change attempts so far by Al Capone. Not the bombardment yet. The three American, I'm sorry to say, diplomatic tools that they have in their toolbox since 1991, which are four, are why? Because they remained alone, the superpower, and everybody else was down. So they could show that they could spread. When you're in charge, you show who you really are. Why? Because you're in power. You don't have to answer to anybody. Therefore, I don't have to be a nice guy. I could just slap you and take her. I want your wife, take her. You want your Lamborghini, take it. You don't have to say, wait a minute, but there's our laws that's immoral, they're illegal. No, I'm strong enough. So you can tell it's not that the power corrupts. The power just shows who we really are. It gives us the opportunity to show you who we really are if we are unchecked. So the United States of America, after 1991, after the Soviet Union went, with the agreement with those guys, brokered by financial interest, and not only, do you think the communists decided within 1 year or 1 year and a half to say, yeah, communism is not good, democracy is better. And the communist economy is not good, the capitalism is better. Just all of them, except Ceausescu, realized that overnight. I don't believe that. If you believe that, go around the block halfway. Don't even have to go one way. If you lived enough, you realize things don't work that way, man. So anyway, and you can see who took over, for instance, these countries, a certain kind of group. And then when you see who, the banks, and who, anyway, not going to that one. Not going to that one. Nevertheless, my friends, so the four tools that the American diplomacy used since 1991 were threats, blackmail, regime change with a spontaneous uprising, demonstration, which turned to overthrow a government, like for instance in Kiev, or they tried in Turkey, then they tried in many other areas, in Georgia, a month ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and then direct attack. So Modi already got the three. And they come with the third one, oh, you violated some human rights somewhere, some religious freedom, something like that. But hey, Ukrainians can ban the Russian Orthodox Church in their country as much as they want. But hey, Modi, hey, you got Hindus, you got Buddhists, you got Sheiks, you got all those guys. All right, my friends, here it is. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.